They've told us for decades that fiber is essential for good health.
And new Fiber One. By now you've heard how important fiber is in your diet.
It's a fact that 9 out of 10 people still aren't eating enough fiber.
High in fiber from oats, wheat, and barley.
What if that advice was built on shaky evidence and marketing, not facts? Dr. Ken Berry finally exposes the fiber myth in this video. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Westman, and welcome to my channel where I review and debunk nutritional misinformation online. I always say consider the source, and in this video we're going to listen to Dr. Ken Berry. You may be following him already. We've been on mutual meetings, mutual calls. We're actually on the board of the American Diabetes Society together, which is a new society to teach people that type 2 diabetes can be reversible. Much of his information comes from clinical experience, but in this one, he's going to talk about published science as well. Let's see what he says, and be sure to wait till the end when you hear my final thoughts. Before we dive into today's video, I want to invite you to join the Academy's free webinar, The Power of Protein, Telltale Signs You Need More Protein, hosted by Dr. Michael Eads and Dr. Mary Dan Eads. They've appeared as nutritional experts on hundreds of radio and television shows across the U.S. and continue to speak at medical and scientific conferences on the connection between diet, health, exercise, and low-carb and ketogenic diets. See the link in the description to sign up.
Are you one of the million people who are convinced that you have to eat fiber in order to feed your gut microbiome? Oh boy, you better watch this video until the end, because I'm about to reveal something that you didn't know, your doctor didn't know, nor did your dietitian know. You don't have to eat fiber to feed your gut microbiome, the bacteria that live in your large intestine like kings and queens. There are proteins in meat, in animal foods, in eggs that feed your gut microbiome just as well, if not better, than fiber in vegetables and other plants.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of promotion of taking fiber. In my clinical practice, I think this may be one of the top preconceptions that people have. And then they have questions about a keto or a carnivore low-carb diet because they ask, where's the fiber going to come from? But the idea of having to have fiber is called an essential nutrient. Is fiber an essential nutrient? And no, it's not. So this goes back to the Institute of Medicine, and really for years, when you discuss what essential nutrients are, you need amino acids, the proteins, you need some fatty acids, the fats, and you need vitamins and minerals. Even carbohydrates, the sugars and starches are not essential nutrients, and fiber is not an essential nutrient. Now you might say, well, but to have optimal health, you need fiber. Well, we'll see if that's true, but I don't get bothered anymore if someone says they're not having extra fiber, they're not having extra Metamucil or some other proprietary probiotic even, because I think the body and the gut microbiome figure it out with the real food once you get the diet in order. So fiber is not an essential nutrient.
This means that your gut bacteria get all of the food they need on a carnivore diet.
So let's think about this a minute. If the gut microbiome needs to be fed, and you study people who are eating carbohydrates, you're going to be finding that there's a certain set of bacteria. Oh, the bacteria change in response to what you eat. So we're really talking about this idea of a tautology, where if you eat a certain way, you have a certain gut microbiome, and that microbiome changes when you change what you eat. So actually, I'm not interested in or too worried about feeding the gut microbiome. I want to feed our body and our cells correctly, and that's what Dr. Berry is going to be focusing on. How do we get the nutrition that our body needs without having to worry about feeding the microbiome?
Now, here's the thing in the carnivore diet. that feeds them just as well, if not better. And if you don't believe me, I've got lots of research links down in the show notes showing the research that shows this to be very clearly true. So when you eat a collagen-rich carnivore meal, that collagen gets broken down by the stomach acid and the other enzymes in your digestive system into collagen peptides, which are short or long chains of different peptides. And that is the same kind of fuel as fiber is for your gut bacteria. They can ferment or rot or break down or digest that to make the short chain fatty acids that your body's benefiting from, at least at the cellular level, if not body-wide. And they don't need any fiber whatsoever. So the next objection that would come from the plant lovers is, well, I'm sure that stimulates the growth of unhealthy bacteria and probably downregulates all the good bacteria. No. Remember those research links I told you down in the show notes? When you eat a collagen-rich diet, that actually stimulates and encourages the good bacteria in your gut to proliferate. You see, collagen is a unique molecule. It is filled with glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, which are amino acids that your gut microbiome, your gut bacteria, love and will readily eat, aka ferment, aka rot, in your gut. They're basically fuel for the bacteria. They break them down, they digest them, and then the byproduct is short chain fatty acids.
Yeah, so if you're following this, the main message is that actually what Dr. Berry's not saying clearly is that the gut microbiome changes depending on what you eat. And how you define good and bad bacteria is going to be different depending on what you're eating. And then feeding the bacteria that are being fed on a carb-rich diet, it's going to be different than feeding bacteria that are there when you're not eating carbohydrates. So you could say that it's apples and oranges, or on a high-carb diet, you do need to have fiber to help with the microbiome as it exists with those who eat carbohydrates. But when you don't eat carbohydrates, it changes in the gut, and you don't need to be eating those same sorts of fuels for the gut microbiome. So I'm glad this video is at least, saying what a lot of people need to hear is don't worry about this, please. It often is a source of confusion, a source of getting too many carbs in the diet, thinking that you need extra fiber.
So when you eat a collagen-rich diet, not only is it beneficial to your hair, your skin, your nails, but it's also one of the favorite meals of the bacteria that live in your colon. Now let's talk about which bacteria are actively selected when you're eating a collagen-rich diet. Collagen peptides seem to favor which bacteria thrive if you're eating a collagen-rich diet. Indeed, it's the Bacteroides species and the Faecobaculum species that thrive when you eat a collagen-rich diet. They don't need any fiber whatsoever. In the research that I talked about, there's links in the show notes, the collagen peptides, when they were added to the participants of the study's diet, researchers saw fewer harmful bacteria. They saw a tighter gut junction barrier, right? Remember the tight junctions? They actually get better when you're eating a collagen-rich diet, and they saw less gut inflammation. And indeed, when I talk to someone who's on a carnivore diet because they had ulcerative colitis or irritable bowel or Crohn's disease, they always report less inflammation.
Yeah, that is a recurring theme. And let me know your experience in the comments. What happened to your gut? The gurgling goes away, the stomach pain, even extreme cases of inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. There's now a case series published on a carnivore diet reversing these serious medical conditions that doctors are using very powerful drugs to suppress the inflammatory response, which also quells the disease symptoms. But the upshot is that the microbiome changes and it's calmer. That's the clinical signal that we see from our patients.
So any beef shank, any oxtail, short ribs, lamb shank, pork hocks, pig feet, chicken feet, any kind of connective tissue containing cut of meat is going to be rich in the collagen peptides that your gut bacteria are hungry for. Any skin, so chicken skin, whether it's baked, broiled, grilled, or if you put them in the air fryer and make crispy chicken skins, great source of collagen peptides. Salmon skin, the skin of any fish, even sardines with the skin on and the bones in, great source of these collagen peptides. Pork rinds, yes, pork rinds, depending on what they're fried in, are actually a health food for your gut bacteria because they're full of connective tissue.
Yeah, who would have thought that doctors would be prescribing pork rinds for people? Well, on a low-carb diet anyway, they are fine. They have no carbs. They don't raise the blood glucose. They don't raise the insulin. So they're like a free food when you shift to a keto or carnivore type of diet. And they get you the collagen that your body needs, let alone the microbiome. So I'm still not convinced that we know beyond changing the diet what to do extra for the gut microbiome, because it changes to adapt to what we're eating. Like Dr. Berry, I don't think you need to be buying these products that are promoting these things. You can get what you need from real food.
Any organ meat, any connective tissue, tripe soup, tendon stew, chicken feet, any kind of bone broth, even the membrane inside of the soft-boiled egg, that little thin membrane you can peel off, that's pure collagen, which is going to break down into collagen peptides in your digestive system and make your gut bacteria very, very happy. So the next time somebody says, oh, if you don't eat fiber, your gut bacteria will die, you can just, depending on your mood, either nod and smile and know they're wrong, or you can say, actually, Dr. Berry has a video about that, and there's a lot of research links in the show notes. I actually printed all those out. Here's a copy. Stop saying dumb things. So the final truth is you do not need to eat any fiber whatsoever in order to feed your gut bacteria very, very well and make them very happy, in order to upregulate all of the good bacteria and downregulate all of the mean, evil bacteria, and to help your gut bacteria make all of the short-chain fatty acids that your intestinal lining and indeed perhaps the rest of your body need. Your gut bacteria are happy to make that for you if you just eat enough collagen to supply them with enough collagen peptides.
Yeah, I have to agree. But step back. We've been using low-carb, keto, carnivore-ish types of diets for 20 years. Dr. Atkins and Dr. Bernstein and Dr. Eads for 30 years before that, without any knowledge of the gut microbiome, without any talk about the gut microbiome. And it still worked, still was very healthy. So I'm not convinced knowing anything about the gut microbiome right now is going to be helping you as you're losing weight, reversing diabetes or obesity, metabolic syndrome on a low carb diet. Just, calm that fear down that you're not getting enough fiber, because you really don't have to add fiber in. I totally agree. If you like this, please like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, look for new content on Wednesdays and Fridays. If you enjoyed this video, consider joining our YouTube membership for early access and exclusive live Q&As with me. Just click the join button below or support us with a PayPal in the description.